Right now, Milford school leaders are moving forward with a plan to close and then consolidate several schools over the next 2 decades.
The plan will cost more than $1 billion. Not everyone is on board with that. Your reporter Owen Kingsley live in Milford right now, where some parents are not happy about this decision. Good morning.
Good morning, and yeah, you're absolutely right. Some parents even pleading with the Board of Education last night to keep their smaller sized schools. Now, these more than 50-year-old school buildings are becoming pretty costly, and very simply put, the Board of Ed believes that fewer buildings might reduce future maintenance costs. The Milford Board of Ed Monday night approved a plan to close 2 of the city's 8 elementary schools, Calf Penn and Meadowside, then consolidate from 3 to 2 middle schools, closing Harborside. Both high schools in the city will remain open and undergo renovations. All of this construction will take time, though. If you're a parent in the district, your baby born this year will be graduating high school when this project finishes in 2044. Several Milford parents voiced their frustrations with consolidating the city's schools, arguing much of Milford's identity comes from its numerous neighborhood schools.
Vote no on any plan to close Calf Penn Meadow and eliminate our school. Keep our neighborhoods. Keep our small town character and our small school communities alive.
A sacrifice that need to be made, and that, in my mind, we need to figure out what's the best path forward.
This entire project will cost the city about $1.5 billion. It's not exactly clear right now which school would close first under this plan and when that might happen. Your reporter in Milford, I'm Owen Kingsley, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.